What if the next valuable coin isn't hidden in a museum, but sitting unnoticed in your loose change? Eyes. Welcome back to Change Your Life. Today, we're uncovering 3 Australian 20-cent coins that continue to attract the attention of collectors. 1981 20-cent, no mint mark. 2004 20-cent, no mint mark. 1974 20-cent, no mint mark. Featuring the iconic platypus reverse design and a durable copper-nickel composition, these coins may look like ordinary pocket change. But collectors often examine them for rare varieties, minting errors, and unusual characteristics that make certain examples stand out. Some of the most fascinating coin discoveries have come from pieces that look completely ordinary at first glance. Stay with me until the end, because the final coin has a feature that many people never think to check. Now, let's reveal coin number 1. What if one of the oldest looking 20-cent coins sitting quietly in your coin jar could tell a fascinating story about Australia's decimal currency? While the majority of Australian 20-cent coins are worth only their face value, a small number attract serious attention because of their condition, unusual production characteristics, or collector demand. Among the dates that continue to interest Australian coin enthusiasts is the 1981 Australian 20-cent coin without a mint mark. At first glance, this coin rarely stands out. Most surviving examples have spent decades in circulation and usually show heavy wear, dark gray toning, countless scratches, and softened design details. Many people assume such coins have little value because they no longer look shiny or new. Experienced collectors, however, understand that appearance alone never tells the whole story. Some of the hobby's most interesting discoveries have come from ordinary-looking circulation coins that were carefully examined instead of being ignored. The Australian 20-cent denomination has been part of the country's decimal currency since February 14, 1966, when Australia officially adopted the decimal monetary system. That historic change replaced pounds, shillings, and pence with dollars and cents, creating an entirely new generation of circulating coins. Since then, the 20-cent piece has become one of Australia's most frequently used denominations, passing through millions of wallets, shops, banks, and cash registers every year. The 1981 issue was struck using a durable copper-nickel alloy, a metal chosen because it resists corrosion and withstands everyday handling far better than softer metals. Although this alloy contains no precious silver, it has allowed many 1981 coins to survive decades of circulation while still preserving enough detail for collectors to study today. The reverse displays one of Australia's most iconic circulating coin designs, the platypus swimming across rippling water. Designed by Stuart Devlin, the artwork celebrates one of Australia's most unusual native animals and has remained a favorite among collectors for generations. Even after years of circulation, the flowing water lines and distinctive shape of the platypus remain instantly recognizable. On the obverse appears the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, reflecting Australia's constitutional monarchy during the early 1980s. Around the portrait are the traditional inscriptions identifying the monarch and the nation, while the date 1981 appears clearly below. Unlike coins issued by some other countries, standard Australian circulation coins from this period were produced without a mint mark, meaning collectors must rely on other characteristics when studying different varieties. During 1981, the Royal Australian Mint produced a large number of 20-cent coins to meet the country's everyday economic needs. Most entered circulation immediately and remained there for many years. They purchased groceries, paid bus fares, passed through vending machines, and changed hands thousands of times before eventually finding their way into old collections, coin jars, or dealer stock. Because these coins circulated so heavily, finding one with strong original detail has become increasingly difficult. Many surviving pieces now show flattened high points, faded surface texture, and naturally darkened color. Interestingly, these signs of honest circulation often make a coin more appealing to collectors than an example that has been aggressively cleaned. Original surfaces usually preserve valuable evidence of a coin's history, while polishing can permanently remove important mint characteristics. Collectors also appreciate the 1981 issue because it represents an important period in Australia's decimal coinage. By the early 1980s, modern minting technology had become highly efficient, yet occasional die wear, striking variations, and production irregularities still occurred. While the overwhelming majority of coins were perfectly normal, specialists continue searching for genuine mint-made varieties that escaped into circulation. Today, many Australian collectors enjoy examining old 20-cent coins under magnification, looking for unusual strike quality, die cracks, die chips, off-center strikes, or other authentic mint-produced features. Most coins reveal nothing unusual, but every careful inspection adds to the excitement of the search. The possibility of discovering an overlooked collectible is one of the reasons coin hunting remains such a popular hobby. It's important to remember that most 1981 Australian 20-cent coins are worth only face value. However, examples with verified mint errors, exceptional preservation, or rare authenticated varieties can attract significantly greater interest from collectors. Their market value depends on rarity, condition, authenticity, and current collector demand rather than the date alone. That combination of history, everyday use, the famous Platypus reverse, and the continuing search for genuine mint varieties makes the 1981 Australian 20-cent coin an excellent starting point in today's countdown of Australia's most collectible decimal coins. Moving from the early 1980s to the new millennium, the next coin on today's list is the 2004 Australian 20-cent coin without a mint mark. Because it is much newer than many classic Australian coins, countless people assume it cannot possibly be collectible. Yet experienced collectors know that age alone does not determine rarity. Modern coins can become highly desirable when they display unusual production characteristics, outstanding preservation, or genuine mint-made errors. The 2004 issue was produced during a period when Australia's decimal coinage was already well established. By this time, the Royal Australian Mint had decades of experience producing high-quality circulation coins. Advanced manufacturing technology greatly reduced major production mistakes, making authentic mint errors from modern issues much less common than many people expect. That rarity is exactly why specialists inspect 2004 coins so carefully. Like other circulation 20-cent pieces, the 2004 coin was struck from a copper-nickel alloy. This durable metal withstands years of everyday handling, allowing many coins to survive in reasonable condition even after long periods in circulation. However, because millions enter daily commerce, most examples today show evidence of use, including light scratches, worn high points, small contact marks, and natural gray toning. The reverse continues Australia's famous platypus design, one of the nation's most recognizable circulating coin images. Even after decades of circulation, the flowing water lines surrounding the platypus remain an impressive example of Australian coin artistry. Collectors often examine this side first because any unusual strike weakness, die crack, or surface irregularity is usually easier to identify around the detailed water pattern. On the obverse, the coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, accompanied by the appropriate inscriptions and the date 2004. Like standard Australian circulation coins of this era, there is no mint mark, meaning collectors must rely on careful observation rather than mint identification when searching for unusual varieties. One reason collectors enjoy studying the 2004 issue is the consistency of its production. Since most examples were struck to a high standard, any authenticated deviation from normal specifications immediately attracts attention. Even a small die crack, a retained die chip, an off-center strike, or an improperly struck coin can become significantly more interesting than an ordinary circulation piece. Condition also plays an important role. Many 2004 coins still circulate today, but finding one with untouched original surfaces is becoming less common as years pass. Coins that escaped heavy circulation often retain stronger design detail, while heavily used examples develop smooth wear across the highest parts of the Queen's portrait and the platypus. Both types interest collectors for different reasons, provided the surfaces remain original. Natural toning is another feature frequently discussed by numismatists. Over time, copper-nickel coins may develop attractive shades of silver gray, charcoal, or light golden color depending on storage conditions. These natural changes differ from artificial cleaning, which usually leaves bright but unnatural surfaces and fine hairline scratches. Most experienced collectors prefer original, untouched coins whenever possible. As interest in Australian decimal coinage continues to grow, many hobbyists now search through rolls of 20-cent coins hoping to locate overlooked varieties. While the overwhelming majority of 2004 coins remain worth face value, properly authenticated mint-error examples can attract strong collector demand because genuine production mistakes from modern issues are relatively scarce. The popularity of online collecting communities has also increased awareness of modern Australian coins. Every year, collectors share newly discovered die varieties, striking anomalies, and unusual production errors, encouraging others to inspect even the most ordinary-looking pocket change. Although remarkable discoveries remain uncommon, the excitement of possibly finding an authentic mint-made variety keeps many collectors searching. For that reason, the 2004 Australian 20-cent coin represents an interesting reminder that collectible coins are not always old or made from precious metals. Sometimes a modern circulation coin, carefully preserved or displaying a verified mint error, can become one of the most talked about pieces in a collection. The final coin in today's countdown takes us back to the early years of Australia's decimal currency. Our last featured piece is the 1974 Australian 20-cent coin without a mint mark. At first glance, it may seem like nothing more than an old, worn coin that has spent decades in circulation. But for many collectors, the 1974 issue represents an important chapter in Australian numismatic history and remains one of the dates that deserves a closer look. By 1974, Australia's decimal currency system had been in use for only a few years. The country was still adjusting to its modern coinage, and the 20-cent denomination had already become one of the busiest coins in everyday commerce. Millions of Australians used these coins for shopping, public transport, vending machines, and countless daily transactions. As a result, most surviving examples show heavy circulation, making high-quality original pieces increasingly difficult to locate. Like the other coins in this series, the 1974 issue was struck from a copper-nickel alloy. The metal was selected because it could withstand years of handling without rusting or wearing away quickly. Even today, many 1974 coins still retain enough detail for collectors to study, despite decades of use. The reverse proudly features the famous platypus gliding through rippling water, a design created by Stuart Devlin. This uniquely Australian artwork has become one of the country's most recognizable circulating coin designs. On heavily circulated examples, the fine water lines often become smoother, while the platypus itself may lose some of its sharper details. Even so, experienced collectors examine these areas carefully because they can reveal strike quality and possible mint-made characteristics. The obverse displays the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, together with the country name and the date 1974. Since standard Australian circulation coins of this period carried no mint mark, collectors focus instead on the quality of the strike, die condition, and any unusual production features that might separate one coin from another. Because the 1974 coins entered circulation immediately after leaving the mint, Many spent decades changing hands before anyone considered saving them. They were carried in wallets, stored in cash registers, dropped into vending machines, and mixed with thousands of other coins. This long circulation history explains why original, lightly worn examples are much harder to find than people often expect. Collectors pay particular attention to coins that have remained untouched. Natural toning, honest circulation wear, and original surfaces usually make a stronger impression than coins that have been polished or cleaned. Cleaning may make a coin appear brighter, but it can permanently remove delicate surface textures that experts rely on when evaluating authenticity and preservation. Another reason the 1974 issue continues attracting interest is the possibility of discovering genuine mint-made varieties. Although the vast majority of coins were produced normally, specialists continue examining older decimal coins for die cracks, die chips, strike-through errors, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other authenticated minting mistakes. These discoveries are uncommon, but they remain one of the most exciting parts of coin collecting. As Australia's numismatic community has grown, interest in early decimal issues has steadily increased. Coins from the late 1960s and early 1970s are now viewed not only as everyday currency, but also as historical artifacts from an important period in Australia's monetary development. Each circulated 1974 coin represents decades of real economic activity and everyday Australian life. It's important to remember that most 1974 Australian 20-cent coins are worth only their face value. However, coins with verified mint errors, exceptional preservation, or scarce authenticated varieties may attract considerably stronger collector interest. Their value depends on professional authentication, rarity, condition, and current market demand, not simply on the year alone. That is what makes coin collecting so rewarding. An ordinary-looking coin found in an old jar, family collection, or pocket could simply be spending money, or it could become an interesting collectible after careful examination. By checking the date, studying the strike, and looking for genuine mint-made features, collectors continue discovering pieces that others might easily overlook. Before spending your next Australian 20-cent coin, take a few extra moments to inspect it closely. While most examples will remain everyday change, every search improves your knowledge, and every coin has its own story to tell. Sometimes the greatest discoveries begin with nothing more than a careful look at an ordinary piece of pocket change.